All right, folks, let's talk about what we're going to need for this next project. So we'll take a look at what we got going on here. So you will need your wire cutters, your screwdriver. In your kit was this piece of paper that has layouts on it, this little weird piece of paper that's got a bunch of little components on it, some scissors to cut some stuff out. You also have in your kit a green pencil and a blue pencil. You'll also need a regular old pencil. Either the glue or a glue stick would work this time, just to stick the things you cut out onto the paper. You are now going to need this big old this wiring setup, and finally you're going to need the wire that you did last time. So first step is we're going to undo these screws. We're going to take these wires off, okay, and the wire nuts off of the ends. So please do that. Now you may still have some ends with hooks on them like that, or you may have kind of butchered them up when you took them off. To give you more practice with doing that, I would like you to take these ends and just take your wire cutters and just cut the very ends off. Don't cut a lot of wire off because we need to use as much wire as possible. So we're going to just cut those guys off. And now I'm left with less than 6 inches. Remember the 6-inch thing? So make sure you have 6 inches of wire sticking out of each end. All right, now we're going to set up our boxes for wiring. And what we're going to do is take this long wire that you just took the components off of, measure it with your tape measure, including the ends, okay? And you're going to cut that into 3 equal pieces that include this, okay? Don't start at the thing because we need a total length of wire. So again, we need 3 equal pieces, as close to equal as you can get. I mean, if it's within an inch, it's fine. But don't make one 8 inches long or you're not going to have enough to use. So we need whatever the length is divided by 3, and you're going to cut that into pieces. So I just did that. I got 3 equal pieces, and 2 of those pieces already have sheathing removed from one end, and that's fine. All right, next step is we're going to get the boxes ready. So if you'll notice your layout, we're going to try and follow this layout where we have we have a wire coming in. This is from your power source, which we'll deal with later. That's one of the wires. A second wire will come out of the box 1 and into box 2. That's 2 wires, and then the third one will come out of box 2 and into the light receptacle box. So that's wire number 3. So here's how we're going to do that. Is let's go ahead and lay this out this way and not this way. Not that it matters, but just to keep us kind of that you're not getting confused and doing things backwards. And in the bottom of this box, we can zoom in and take a look here. Let's zoom in down in there. Let's see if we focus, or maybe I gotta get a light on this. There we go. There are these little tabs, and those little tabs can be broken out with your screwdriver. If you stick the screwdriver in and then just sort of twist it around, that little tab will just pop out. So sometimes it takes a little oomph, okay? And just pops out of there. So we're gonna pop out the bottom ones on this box, these 2 on this box, and then these are a little bit different. You don't actually break these out. This one, those tabs are designed to kind of clamp down against the wire. So we're not going to break those out, but it is a good idea to kind of pry them up a little bit just to get yourself started, because if you try and push that wire through there, it's really difficult to do. So whoops, that snap was not a break. It was just a screwdriver popping off. So I'm just doing that a little bit just to give it a little bit of help to bend upwards. All right, so now that we've got that done, and I've broken those little tabs out, you can just toss those. And now we're ready to get our wiring in here. Now I purposely made the wires longer than what you need. So here's my suggestion so that they're not all over the place, is I would take the wire and kind of make a loop in the middle like this, just so that it stays a little bit more contained. So you kind of end up with something that looks like that. And then the ends, although you may end up using more than, that's going to be about right. So one of the wires is going to go into this end, and then it will just be kind of loose on the outside. Now it's a little tough. You got to sometimes take this thing. It helps if you have the wire curved first and you just sort of go with the curve like that, then it will pop up in there. So I've got one wire. Then I've got my other ones where I'm again going to make that little loop just to get some out of the way. Okay, the good thing about 14 gauge wires, it's kind of easy to bend around with your hands. Now this one is going to go on one side. It's going, and again, I'm putting a little pre-bend in there, so it kind of will help me feed this through and up, and so I can grab it in the box. This wire is going to go through the second one. Okay. And you're going to pull them because you're going to want enough wire sticking out of there. You want 6 inches exposed, and you want at least a good 4 to 6 inches sticking out of the box. But again, I curled that just so it's not kind of all over the place. And finally, we're going to go, and on this one, I would start by going into this round box, because this one is tricky. You probably have to bend it up a little bit because there's not a lot of room right there. You could even think about trying to to open this guy a little bit more with your screwdriver, and then come up with this with this wire. It's a little tricky. So I put a bend in it first, and then I'm using my screwdriver to help a little bit. Good. Once it's through there, you should be able to kind of push it a little bit. It helps if it stays flat up against that flat part and isn't over here into the corner, because once it gets over into the corner, it's a little difficult to pull through. But there we go. Okay, and again, I want a good 5 or 6 inches sticking out. Okay. All right. So this time I'll put my bend in this wire afterwards and then come up through here, because it's a lot easier to get through these broken out parts. All right, and we're set up. We've got feed wire. We've got wire going from box 1 to box 2, and we've got a wire going from box 2 over to box 3, the light receptacle box. Cool. All right, we'll worry about stripping wire and all that stuff next time, and we'll actually do some wiring next time. But this is just our setup. And now we're going to talk about how to actually wire this thing and what it's going to look like.